For centuries, myths, legends, and human belief have shaped entire civilizations. Among the most astonishing and haunting of these stories is the world of the Aztecs, a society that rose in the valley of central Mexico and built one of the most remarkable cultures in human history. Their achievements in astronomy, architecture, agriculture, and city building were extraordinary. But woven deeply into their greatness was a ritual that continues to shock the modern world: the belief that the sun itself needed human blood to survive. Before the Aztecs built their empire, they lived as nomads, wandering from one place to another, always searching for a sign from the gods. According to their legend, their deity instructed them to settle wherever they found an eagle perched on a cactus while devouring a serpent. After many years of travel, they finally encountered this sacred vision in a lake-filled valley surrounded by mountains. There, they founded what would become Tenochtitlan, one of the most impressive and advanced cities of the ancient world. As the Aztec civilization grew, so did the complexity of their beliefs. Central to their worldview was a concept known as the Five Suns. According to their mythology, the world had already passed through 4 previous eras, each ruled by a different sun, and each of those suns had met a violent end, destroyed by divine anger and natural catastrophe. The first sun fell to fierce winds, the second to fire, the third to wild beasts, and the fourth to devastating floods. Each collapse erased life on Earth and forced creation to begin again. The Aztecs believed they lived under the 5th sun, the era that still exists today. But to them, this sun was not permanent. It was fragile, constantly threatened by the forces of darkness. Every day, the sun god, Huitzilopochtli, fought a cosmic battle to rise again, and to keep him strong, to help him push back the night, he needed nourishment. That nourishment, they believed, was human blood and beating human hearts. This belief shaped their daily rituals, their wars, and even their political structure. Human sacrifice was not an act of cruelty in their minds. It was a sacred duty. Without it, they feared the sun would fail to appear, plunging the world into eternal darkness and ending all life. As their empire expanded, the scale of sacrifices grew with it. During major festivals, the number of victims could reach staggering levels. The most debated and infamous event happened in 1487, when the great temple of Tenochtitlan, the Templo Mayor, was dedicated. Different accounts offer different numbers, but many sources claim that between 20,000 and 80,000 people were sacrificed over several days. While modern scholars question the exact figures, there is no doubt that the ritual was massive and deeply rooted in Aztec faith. Where did the victims come from? Many were prisoners, captured during war. The Aztecs engaged in what they called flower wars, battles designed specifically to capture people alive for sacrifice. Some victims were criminals or individuals taken from conquered territories. These captives were taken up the steep steps of the pyramids, structures built tall so they would be closer to the heavens and the sun. The ritual itself was incredibly brutal. At the top of the pyramid, several priests would hold the victim down on a stone slab. A specially trained priest would use a sharp obsidian blade to open the chest and pull out the heart while it was still setting. The priest would raise the heart toward the sky, offering it to the sun, God as a symbol of life and energy. The body, now lifeless, was thrown down the temple steps. Below, priests or spectators would gather the remains. In some ceremonies, parts of the flesh were consumed in ritual feasts, acts tied not to hunger, but to symbolic religious meaning. To the Aztecs, these acts were not madness, they were spiritual necessity. Every sacrifice was, in their view, helping to keep the universe in balance. Without the offering of blood, they feared the sun's strength would fade and the world would face another catastrophic ending. Alongside human offerings, the Aztecs also presented treasures like gold, jade, rare feathers, and elaborate handmade items. But none of these held the same sacred power as a human heart. Only living human blood, they believed, possessed the life force strong enough to sustain the gods. Over time, however, Aztec society evolved. As trade expanded, as agriculture flourished, and as learning and communication spread across the empire, some of the old beliefs began to shift. Not all regions practiced sacrifice on a large scale. Among many Aztecs in later generations, the rituals began to feel more like tradition than absolute necessity. As new ideas and outside influences appeared, the scale of sacrifice slowly declined. Cultural transformation started replacing fear with new interpretations of the cosmos. The end of the Aztec Empire came not from these internal changes, but from Spanish conquest, devastating disease, and the collapse of alliances. But even after their fall, the legacy of their rituals has remained one of the most intensely studied and misunderstood aspects of their culture. Today, when we look back at the Aztecs, we see contradictions. This was a society capable of advanced engineering, floating gardens, complex writing, sophisticated trade networks, and incredible artistic achievement. Yet it was also a society shaped by a belief system that demanded blood to keep the universe alive. Understanding the Aztecs requires acknowledging both sides of their identity. Their belief in the fragility of the sun reflects a deep human instinct, the need to make sense of the universe and protect what seems essential to survival. Their sacrifices, as horrifying as they appear to us, were acts of devotion in their worldview. They were trying to prevent the end of the world. Ultimately, the story of the Aztecs is not just about violence, it's about faith. It's about cosmic fear. It's about the human desire to hold on to light in a world filled with uncertainty. As time passed, the practice of human sacrifice faded. New beliefs emerged. Cultural evolution replaced old traditions. And the fifth sun, once thought to survive only through blood, now endures through the stories, studies, and historical records that keep the legacy of the Aztecs alive. What remains today are ruins, artifacts, and narratives, reminders of a civilization that blended brilliance with brutality. And in those stories, we find a powerful truth. Human cultures change, beliefs evolve, and even the most deeply rooted rituals can be reshaped by time. The legend of the fifth sun no longer depends on sacrifice. It survives because we continue to learn, explore, and seek to understand the mysteries of those who came before us.